Word of today is that your dream is possible. Okay, so today we're going to do first principles. So there are two things that I want you to know, is that how to write it in terms of notation, so f asterisk of x, and then the notation of solving or simplifying the first principles. Right, so those are two things that I want you to focus on. Okay, and you're looking for keywords only when you see first principles, then we're going to use limits. Okay, so currently this is what we have. So we're going to use first principles to simplify and solve this. Okay, it's limits where h strives towards 0, right? And then the formula is f of x plus h minus f of x over h. Okay, so this is the formula that we're going to use, and we're going to use this formula. This formula is only used when they give you a keyword called first principles. Okay, right. So we substitute x plus h in the place of x, and that's what we get. And so we put 3 in front, and we write out the bracket twice. X plus h, right. And now we don't multiply the 3 yet, we keep it outside. So it's going to be x squared plus hx plus hx plus h squared. Right, so we still simplify the bracket, we add like terms, so it's going to be 3, open bracket, x squared plus 2 middle terms added is 2hx plus h squared. There we go. And then that gives me 3x squared plus 6x is 6hx plus 3h squared. Right, so now we're going to substitute this in the place of f of x plus h. Right, so remember, again, notation is very, very important. Equals to the limit where h strives towards 0, and we substitute this 3x squared plus 6hx plus 3h squared, and we minus the original function from there. Now we substitute directly here without brackets because we only have one term. Okay, so we cancel those two out. They are opposites of each other, 3x squared and negative 3x squared. Remember, again, notation is very important. H strives towards 0. That gives me 6hx on top plus 3h squared over h. Now on top I can take a common factor out. My common factor on top is going to be, what do you think it's going to be on top? It's going to be h. Okay, so let's see. F of x, we limits and h strives towards 0. My common factor on top is going to be h, open bracket, what's left is 6x plus 3h and h the bottom. Okay, we cancel out the h's because it occurs at the top and at the bottom. Now we get f the first derivative equals to 6x plus 3 and 0. We substitute h with 0. Okay, and then our answer is 6x. And there we go. And remember, just take note that we didn't write limit and h strive towards 0 in the second last step, because we replaced h with 0. Now, if you are given this function and you're asked to get the first principles, we can also predict our answer. And we say 2 times 3 minus 1 from the exponent. So it's going to be 6x to the power of 2 minus 1. So we do one step at a time. It gives us the first derivative, and then it gives us 6x. And that's what you can use as a prediction as to what your answer is going to be when you're done with first principles. Right, let's try the next one. So it's going to be f of x equals to x squared minus x. So this is the one that we want to try. Common exam type of question. So remember, we are still under the same topic of first principles, right? So if you want to predict our answer, you can pause the video and actually post what your answer is as a prediction. Okay, but it would be first derivative equals to, we multiply the exponent with the coefficient of x, gives us 2x minus 1. There we go. And that's our predicted answer. Okay, so let's try and see if we're going to get there. Okay, so first derivative equals to limit where h strive towards 0. Now this is very important, remember. Notation is key. Okay, that's our formula over h. Please be careful. Always have the right formula, substitute properly, write down the proper notation. Okay, so now we're going to substitute on the right hand side here. So it's going to be x plus h to the power of 2 minus bracket x plus h. So you have two x's there, so we have to substitute x plus h everywhere. Okay, right, so we write out the brackets twice and we say minus x minus h if we multiply out the right hand side, the far right part. Okay, it's going to be x squared plus hx plus hx plus h squared. Okay, so now we're just going to add the like terms, plus 2hx plus h squared minus x minus h. Now we can't add anything here because there aren't any other like terms. Okay, so we're going to substitute that in the place of f of x. Remember again, notation is very important. Okay, so we substitute. It's going to be x squared plus 2hx plus h squared minus x minus h. Now you have two terms there, so substitute using brackets, people. Be very careful. Okay, we want to get this 5 marks in the exams. Over h. Okay, so it's going to be the first derivative where limit strive towards 0, limits and h strive towards 0. Right, so now we're going to multiply out that negative sign with the bracket. Keep everything else the same. There we go. Over h. So we're going to cancel x squared and minus x squared. There we go. And we're going to cancel negative x and plus x. There we go. So what's left? So we're first going to write f of x, limit h strive towards 0. We know all terms are going to have h's on top, so we take out h as a common factor. So it's 2x plus h minus 1 over h. Now you might think, where did we get the negative 1 from? Okay, I'll show you now. First derivative equals to the limit where h strive towards 0. Okay, that gives us 2x plus h minus 1. And if you are thinking as to where we got the negative 1 from, we simply say negative h over the common factor gives us negative 1. That's where we get the negative 1 from. Okay, so now we're going to substitute h with 0. So it's going to be 2x plus 0 minus 1. Remember, we didn't write the notation because h is substituted with 0. Okay, that gives us 2x minus 1. And here we get our predicted answer. Done and dusted.